Well, hello everyone. My name is Alicia Jackson. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and we are reviewing Ready to Love, Season 5, Episode 10. It is getting down to the wire. Okay. The gentlemen have met the family of the young lady, so things got a little tense, a lot of tense in some areas. So we're going to jump into it, but before we do that, of course, subscribe to the channel because we got good stuff going on. We are trying to provide psychoeducation, which is just information about mental health from a centered place. Centered place. That is the goal. As I am monitoring myself even to make sure we are providing information from a centered place. There's a lot of information out there, but not all of it's centered. So, all right, so let's jump into it. So the name of this episode is Reason, Season, Lifetime, as the ladies are introducing the gents to their family. And of course, as you know, the family are trying to narrow things down, trying to figure out, are these gentlemen for real or are they just playing games? And a lot was definitely on display. You could see intent. Again, more intent on display about how people showed up in their actions in this episode. So let us get into it. Words can mean a lot. Actions tell you more. That is definitely something that you can definitely see. So let's get right on in it. The ladies have the ladies' lounge. Tommy introduces that the gentlemen are going to meet their families. And so we start with Aisha and Dante. Dante meets Aisha's mother and brother. And here is something that I saw that was just beautiful. Aisha did not set up Dante, meaning she did not let them find out that he had 3 children with 3 baby mamas. At the dinner, she told them beforehand. So they had a time to get over the shock, because that is a lot to take in, to get over the shock of it, to digest it, to process it, and then to even have questions that they can come up with for them to be able to respond to him in that setting at dinner, instead of getting that information right at dinner and they're like, what, 3 baby mamas, 3 children, and then be kind of turned off or not really be able to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, 3 baby mamas is a huge thing to digest, right? And it will be a factor in their relationship moving forward. Dante said it was his past, but it is definitely his present. Children are with you your whole life. That is just it. 18, it doesn't stop, like it keeps going. So, that's something that's going to be a part of their relationship if it, folds out to that they do become a lifetime. That was her mother's question to him, and Dante said that Aisha was lifetime. I don't know if he necessarily knows that for sure, but maybe that in this moment, that's what he's feeling. And I do have a lot of hope for. They're really kind of actually the only relationship that I have any potential hope for, because Dante seems to, one, have been tested a few times. One with Zadia, as we saw last episode, putting her finger on his nose and him just responding with, you've had your say. Like, that takes a lot of fortitude and a lot of self-control. And so that was something that was refreshing. Also, the episode where Dante's ex met Zadia, and I can't remember the other young lady he met. Zadia and another young lady, and I believe it was Shiloh, actually. Zadia and Shiloh, they met, and she said that she was going to, or she would be interested in dating who Dante is now if they weren't an ex, because of the growth that he has demonstrated to her. So that's just showing me that he's learned. He's learned from some things. He's taking in, he's self-aware enough to take in where he's messed up in the past in their relationships, in the past relationships, and he's moving forward. Like, he's trying to be a better person, be a better Dante for himself and for whoever he's in relationship with. Aisha has been just a straight shooter from the get-go. She's been a straight shooter, been a no nonsense type of person from the beginning, and that shows like she's done her work. She's processed her divorce. She's not for these games. She's not playing, as Zadia saw 2 episodes ago. So that is something that I have that gives them a nice foundation for them to be able to get to know each other, for them to be able to build a foundation of communication, clear communication, be able to navigate their emotions well, and to be able to have the skills to have a healthy relationship, whether it's with each other or down the line. But they definitely, to me, have shown that they got what it takes to go the long haul if they choose to or if they don't. So, Sydney has Phil meet her parents, which to me shows intent. She didn't have Frank meet her parents. She had Phil meet her parents. And so that tells me that she's feeling Phil more than she's feeling Frank. And we find out later in the episode that that's true. But Phil was very intentional as well. He brought flowers for Sydney and her mother. I thought that was a beautiful touch. Brownie points there for sure. He was not flustered by the questions about his bank account, or his intentions. She said, if you're a player, you can keep playing along. Don't play with my daughter, and he gave her reassurance, actually. So I really feel, and I've said this before in previous reviews, that I really feel like Sydney is Phil's number one, and we see that play out in an episode later on, and so this could be promising-ish. I feel like Sydney is still relying on kind of shallow things to determine whether Phil is her person. Feelings, there's butterflies, things of that nature. Not saying butterflies aren't necessary, they're just not everything. And Phil is not a great communicator, so I do see where he is trying with Sydney. So we will see how that plays out between them two. So we have Frank meeting Mumin's family. Mumin brought everybody. She brought her sister, her father, and her uncle. I just loved her cute family. Her family is from Cameroon in Africa, and we learned Frank's family is from Africa. That's something we didn't know. So that gave me like all these warm feelings, like, oh, this could be like a beautiful moment, right? Because he even said African parents want their children to date and marry other Africans so they can have African babies, right? So this is definitely like probably will be her parents' dreams and his parents' dreams. As you can see, her dad was already ready to marry her off, and Frank hasn't made his decision yet, which he was not pleased about that. My concern, where I did see, where sister was like, he hasn't made his choice yet. You're the best choice for him. And I get it. She's biased. Of course, she's going to feel that way. But Mumin is a gospel singer. For those of you who don't know, she's a gospel singer. And so that's why she was saying, like, I could see him on the red carpet, accompanying me to the Grammys. That's a picture. Think about Frank and Mumin, everyday life of gospel singer, church appearances, him being a man of a nightlife. I don't see this working out. Logistically, me being a person who has experienced a lot of the church world, and knowing what that involves, and knowing the club life and Frank's life and him bartending, it just kind of, I don't know. Can they make it work? Is it possible? Yes. Do I see it logistically or for real? Nah. So, but I do see where on paper and even maybe even a part of Frank is like, man, Mumin is probably the best choice for me. Like, we both come from similar backgrounds. Our families would probably click so easily. It would be a fit. But I don't know if Frank is ready to transition the way he navigates his business world and meet Mumin where she is in her world as a gospel singer. So we'll see. So then we see that, or we've been told that Shiloh and Phil had a meeting at a bar, and Nephew Tommy, it went left, and Nephew Tommy wanted to meet with both of them. We come to find out, and this is Shiloh's third attempt to try to get some direct answer from Phil. She did previously on a date, maybe 2 episodes ago. Then last episode, they finished the retreat together there. They were like the last couple there. She had the card game. She tried to get an answer from him then. No direct answer, just a kiss and nothing. So, and she said to herself, like, I'm riding home, and I'm like, he really didn't answer my question. And so she tried again. And he did not give her a direct answer, which made her upset. So she needed to give herself a moment, walk away. This was very late at night, 4 or 5 in the morning. I don't know what bar is open that late here where I'm from. That bars don't usually stay open that late, but definitely was not safe for her to walk down the street, or even him to walk down the street. But she was asking not to be touched. He was coming from a protector mode, wanting to keep her safe, and touched her, which triggered her, as she has been a person who has experienced abuse. And so you could tell in the conversation that both Phil was avoidant, didn't want to make eye contact with Shiloh or Nephew Tommy, and did not want to still give her an answer. I don't understand why Phil could not say, I have not decided between you and Sydney. I just haven't, and I promised myself, like he said in the confessional, I promised myself I was going to see this to the end, and I haven't made a clear decision. I respect that you have chosen me. I count it a privilege that you have chosen me. I don't take that lightly, and I really want to make sure that I don't lead you on or hurt you. So that's why I'm just saying for right now that I haven't made a decision between you or Sydney. Like, I don't understand why that wasn't said. Shiloh said that he said, I got you. And I got you. That to me gives false communication, that and very indirect communication. What does that mean? So, and we saw this when he had to dismiss Tashia. You the realest, you the best. And she's like, well, the realest didn't mean I got chose. So what does that mean? Like him saying to her at that moment, like, your attitude and the way you come off sometimes can be a bit much. And we feel like because of that, you're not ready to love. Like, let's just say it. And even he was trying to butter up Zadia for the letdown. It's like sometimes the butter up isn't necessary. Sometimes you just have to say it. The truth can be a lot to receive, but I feel like a lot of times when the nice guys are trying to not be truthful, it does more harm than good. Shiloh's like, don't sugarcoat it. Don't walk around the bush and tell me that you got me when obviously how you're responding says you don't, says you prefer Sydney over me. So that is what I feel infuriated Shiloh and what made her need a moment. And then after having that discourse of conversation and him picking her up and triggering her, she just felt unsafe altogether. Like, I don't feel emotionally, safe with you. And then I asked you not to touch me and you did anyway. Yes, his intent was not to harm her and she understood that. But it's like, and then you don't respect my wishes. That, in that moment, I feel like it was a lose-lose situation, unfortunately. And what could have helped them to win is if Phil just would have said the truth from the beginning. Just, I'm still trying to figure out who I want. You or Sydney, and keep it 100 like that. It's as a therapist, it's hard to see that, because I know how trauma can definitely impact the body. Trauma is experienced through our senses, right? So we experience it, whether it's a car crash, whether it's physical abuse, whatever it is. If you experience something similar to it, a song, a sound, it can bring back those memories vividly, and it can make you feel like you're in that traumatic experience again when you are not. And so I really I'm just grateful that Shiloh took care of herself, spoke her piece, and was able to articulate that she didn't feel that Phil was being physically harmful to her, but that she just didn't feel respected, that he didn't say, hey, I don't want to be touched, right? All right, so next, Frank meets Sydney's sister. Now, Sydney tried to big it up and say, my sister's my favorite person in the world, which is beautiful, but it's not the parents. So that's showing that, okay, she brought the sister out so that the sister could drill him and say, all right, is this the one or is this not so? Because I really like Phil. So it comes to find out that she's getting more friend networky kind of vibes from Frank. She says he's warm to everybody, but she doesn't feel the sparks that she feels with Phil. Okay. The funny thing that happens though, when sister asks Frank, are you dating anyone else? He pauses for a very, very long time, which was interesting to me because Frank is usually a person who thinks on his feet very well. He is he's articulate. He can talk, around the best of them. I've seen, just in all the episodes and watching him. So this was like, interesting. But so he didn't answer the sister. He turned to Sydney and was like, I just need to know from you. Like, I am connecting with Mumin, but I just need to know from you, where we stand, because I want this to work. I don't want this to end. I really want this to work. And so I'm like, oh, he's wanting to know where Sydney is, because he doesn't want to be left out in the wind. So he's like, okay, Sydney, I want you to make a decision so I know, so I can make a decision. So Sydney, the sexual attraction to Sydney is, to me, is something that I feel that Frank values more than his meaningful connection with Mumin, which I said this in the past. And he's trying to see, okay, are you going to choose Phil? Because if you're going to choose Phil, then I'll choose Mumin. But if you're going to choose me, then I'll choose you. And this is the part of this show that is just, right? Because then you never know why the person chose you. Or were you second? Were you first? That part is always in your mind. And then you don't know if this person is really connecting with you because they want to connect with you, or is it just because they wanted to win the show or just win with a connection. So that's the crappy part about being on this show. But I don't feel that even a connection with Frank or Sydney is going to be something that's going to last over time. But we shall see. We shall see. All right. Last but not least, well, actually, no, we got two more things to break down. So, and this one is, we kind of knew where this was going to go. Walter meeting Sabrina's cousin. Walter does well in this area. He shines. He's not a person that is going to be fluffy or anything of that nature. We do learn, we have seen it from when his ex was on the show, that he does like younger women. And so that was something that was brought up. He said that he likes the fact that Sabrina is able to catch his cultural references, and that his wife, who passed, would have been around Sabrina's age anyway. I don't know. That to me isn't enough, right? But for Sabrina to feel like, oh, okay, so that's okay. But I don't. There's a part of me, even though I love Walter and Sabrina together. Y'all know that I love them together. Have wanted them to be together since day one. The issue is he wants children, and the second thing is I don't know if he's 100% there. I don't know. Walter is a person, I feel, whose actions are directly connected to his words. He says that he is in it and he's just coasting. I don't know if he just means he's just coasting for the show, or if he's coasting because this is my person. Like I found my person and I'm riding out with Sabrina. That's still to be determined. So the Lady Lounge happens, and Shiloh lets out the bag that, what happened between her and Phil. Sydney is like, I've never seen anything like this. This is interesting, and I don't know this person that you're referring to. What I will say, and I feel like this is an area where it's a little different from when Naeem was talking about, the fact that he's never seen Zadia be aggressive or physically aggressive with him. I do feel like Phil is, because he's very attracted to Sydney, that he is working to be more open with her, and so that is something that she's not seeing with Phil. And at the same time, if they do move on in this relationship, this is going to be a part of their relationship. There are going to be things that come up that he's not going to want to talk to her about. That's just a part of the game. In our relationships, there are things that you are going to come up that your partner does, or your spouse does, that you're like, I don't want to talk about this because this is going to may hurt their feelings, or this is going to, but you have to talk about the things in order for them to be resolved. And so I feel like that's something that if they do have a relationship, she's going to see and feel. And I don't know if he were to become, verbally aggressive towards her, or where things would go. I don't feel like Phil is a physically aggressive dude. That's not the energy that I see from him. I don't feel like that's who he is. I just feel like he's just an avoidant person. He's a nice guy, and he tries to be nice, and because of that, he ends up being mean, but because he doesn't speak the truth. And so that is something that I believe that Sydney will see in their relationship. I don't feel like he's going to be physically aggressive towards her in any way or anything like that. I haven't seen anything that's evidence of that. So there's that. Phil and Shiloh meet up to have their kind of debriefing after their meeting with Nephew Tommy. Shiloh feels like he was emotionally, like he hurt her emotionally, which I see why she feels that way, with his lack of communication and not giving her a straight answer after this is her third attempt to check in, like, homie, where we sit. And also not respecting her wishes to not touch her. And at the same time, he's like programmed and socialized to protect her. So I agree with Nephew Tommy that staying out this late probably wasn't the best decision, and being under the influence of alcohol was not the best decision to have this conversation. And so this was kind of one of those places where, and when she's walking away in the alley, in that moment, that snapshot of a moment, what could he have done? Because he himself is saying, like, I wouldn't even have wanted to walk down this alley with you. Like, this is not okay. What would have been right, would have been wrong. If something were to happen to her, then the opposite could have been said. Like, Phil, you just let her walk down the alley and didn't stop her. And at the same time, if in the bar he would just have been direct, we wouldn't potentially not be here. So she could know where she stands, move accordingly, heal, so soothe her wounds. Like, okay, he wants Sydney, it's cool, or he's still trying to figure things out between me and Sydney. Okay, cool. Versus not getting that answer, being upset, needing the time to walk away, being in an alley in DC at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's just it's a tough spot. So Shiloh, she self-eliminates, and she doesn't feel safe connecting with Phil anymore, and we shall see how things go. I think next week is our last episode before the reunion to see who's choosing who. It really looks like Sydney is choosing Phil, and Frank is the one who's going to be kind of in the wind of who he's going to choose. So we shall see how this goes. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, subscribe to my channel, like this video, and I will see you guys next week. Take care.